If you practice guitar every day and you're still stuck at the same level, this video is going to hurt a little, because the problem isn't your talent, it's definitely not your guitar, and it's also definitely not your motivation, it's your system. Because most guitar players are doing more than ever, but making less progress than ever. They practice longer, they learn more and more exercises, they save more tabs or practice routines, and somehow nothing changes. Here's the truth most guitar channels won't tell you: random practice creates random results. I guarantee you that in 2026, the players who will improve the fastest aren't the ones who practice the most, it's the ones that are practicing smarter. So in this video, I want to show you the exact system that I use with my awesome student community in my Patreon online guitar academy by highlighting 4 of the most effective exercises that I shared over there in 2025. I will tell you exactly why these drills really work and how to combine them into an actual system that makes your progress on the instrument skyrocket. And if you copy this exactly, you won't just play better, you will finally feel in control of your progress. Let's get into it. So the first exercise I want to show you today is the most effective one from the recent 7-day shred guitar blueprint course that I posted on Patreon. This one is great for your picking technique, but also for your finger technique. And there's a really cool picking technique twist. Let's see if you can find out what this is all about. As you could see, we're starting out with alternate picking, but we're not picking the same string all the time. For almost every single alternate picking stroke, we're moving to a different string. So we're starting out on the low E string, upstroke on the A string, downstroke on the D string, upstroke on the G string. And while we're doing that, we're also really focusing on keeping the fretting end fingers close to the neck. So you don't want the rising pinky finger after that first note. So this is not what you want. We want it to look like this. So very relaxed fingers, very close to the neck. Then you're moving down in the shape again. Once again, pay attention to the picking technique. It's always up, down, etc. As you can see, my pinky finger is close to the neck because I just lift it slightly after playing the note. I don't move it like that. And then here's the picking twist that I promised a little bit earlier. We're switching from alternate picking to sweep picking for the second half of the exercise. So for those notes, I really want this kind of movement where I move from string to string and not like that. So I'm not picking the strings individually. It should be a smooth movement like this. And I also want to separate the notes like this, so it shouldn't sound like that. So I'm rolling my middle finger a little bit to separate the notes on the G and B strings and focus on getting individual notes like that and not overlapping notes like this. The reason why this is one of the best exercises that I showed you this year is because you focus on building alternate picking, not just with repeating patterns like this, where you have a lot of notes on one string before you go to the next. You literally always have to transition between different strings, which will unlock your alternate picking for more complex scale phrases. And you also train the switching from alternate picking to sweep picking while keeping the technique consistent. So what you want to focus on is having the same kind of wrist angle, the palm on the bridge, and the movement coming from the wrist, and not a completely different looking technique for the alternate picking and then for the sweep picking, so that you can fluidly switch back and forth between these 2 awesome techniques. Before we move on, let me be real with you for a second. If this system already helped you see things a bit differently, imagine what happens when you don't have to guess what to practice ever again. Because here's what I've learned after teaching thousands of guitar players over the last years. Progress doesn't come from simply knowing exercises, it comes from having a complete, repeatable system. That's why I put together this brand new practice package for my students in my Patreon Guitar Academy this week. And they also additionally have access completely for free to 20+ step-by-step premium guitar technique courses. Inside, you get step-by-step daily practice systems, no random lessons, daily and weekly routines you can follow blindly, technique, fretboard, timing, and musicality systems that actually connect, and most importantly, clarity. You don't wake up wondering, what should I practice today? You just open the routine on Patreon and execute. Because here's the part that most people miss. One good system beats 1,000 good exercises every single time. That's why my students progress faster, not because they're better players, but because they're following a structure that forces results. And I made it affordable on purpose. For less than what most people spend on guitar strings or coffee, you get everything. The practice systems, the full guitar courses, and ongoing updates as I refine the method. So if you're serious about finally breaking plateaus and you want a system instead of guessing, the link is in the description. No pressure at all, but if you're going into 2026 without a real plan, that's the real risk. All right, let's keep going. Now the second exercise builds on this established foundation and it makes your picking even tighter and more reliable. This one's from the Speed Builder Blueprint course I posted this year on Patreon. Check out how cool it sounds. So we're switching to 8th note triplets for this one. You start out with 3 notes on the D string, simple enough. But then things get a bit intense. You always have 1 accented note on the G string before you come back to the D string. And because we're playing triplets here, this accented note is an upstroke. When we play it for the first time, a downstroke. When we play it for the next time, an upstroke. When we play it for the next time, and so on. Which means that this workout perfects your string transitions because you're working on both escape movements that you need to develop with your picking technique. So first, the note on the G string lands on an upstroke like this, but when I keep playing the exercise, the next time I'm playing it, it's a downstroke. Up, down, up, and so on. And here's why this exercise takes things to the next level. You will also work on string skipping now. Because for the next measure, the accented note moves from the G string to the B string. And this will train your pick to naturally move to the correct string whenever you encounter lick with very complicated string changes without getting stuck in between the strings. So it will not sound like this. When you practice this daily, your string transitions will sound like that. And for the last measure, you have to skip from the D string all the way to the high E string. That's exactly what unlocks your picking hand for complex string transitions at super fast tempos. So the underlying system that I want to show you with all of this today is that I'm choosing my exercises in a fundamental technique building way. Each exercise has specific benefits that target my weak spots. For the first one, we were actively training the transition from alternate to sweep picking, while also having a strong focus on finger technique and avoiding that flying pinky finger. And for the second one, we're working on clean string transitions with string skipping, while also including outside and inside picking transitions. So we're not just practicing random exercises. Each exercise has key benefits focused on the main weak spots with picking technique, which is why this structured way of practicing is guaranteed to help you make more progress than just doing random stuff every single day. The next exercise I want to show you is from the Rest Stroke Mastery package that I posted on Patreon this year. This one is all about advanced picking mechanics, so we laid the foundation with the first 2 exercises, and this is where things get real. Check out how awesome this exercise is. I'll show you why it's so important right after. So we're working with a similar picking approach right here. We're skipping in between strings again, but the main feature of this exercise, so to say, is that we're focusing on our rest strokes. So after each picking stroke, you don't want to be floating in between the strings. When you're performing a quick downstroke right now, you're probably floating somewhere between the D and G strings. Kind of a big movement back to do that upstroke. But the goal with those rest stroke mastery exercises is making the alternate picking feel almost like dribbling a basketball, so to say. So instead of going for a big movement like this with my alternate picking, where I'm always kind of bumping into the surrounding strings, it looks more like this. So after each stroke, I'm super close to the string. Once again, the best analogy I can come up with is dribbling a basketball very, very close to the floor. So not like this, very close to the floor like that, and kind of using that momentum in order to build speed. Once you apply that to the string transitions in there, it will get very easy for you to build speed, even as the transitions grow in size, because for the next one you have to jump from the D string to the B string, and then even from the D to the high E string. That's how you build speed and momentum with your alternate picking while still focusing on getting clean results. And then for the second half of the exercise, you're training your advanced phrasing by playing odd note groupings across multiple strings. So you're starting out with just one upstroke on the B string, so a syncopated start, omitting the first 16th note of the measure. So I'm starting with an upstroke instead of a downstroke. So one note on the B string, two notes on the G string, followed by 3 notes on the D string. Then I repeat this phrase. And those 2 blocks of advanced alternate picking together with that rest stroke approach make this one of my absolute favorite exercises of the year. And the last exercise I want to show you has a big focus on the biggest weakness when it comes to picking technique that most self-taught players develop over the years. It might look simple, but it's actually very difficult. Check out this next exercise. Alright, once again, might look simple, but it's actually quite tricky. You're starting out with a downstroke on the D string. Then I'm playing 2 upstrokes in a row with a sweep/economy picking approach. And then you go back to the downstroke on the D string, and I'm just moving different arpeggio shapes across the neck, but the picking approach stays the same. What you're training right here is escaping after the downstroke for those 2 upstrokes, and then escaping the strings again in order to nail the next downstroke on the D string. So ignore my fretting hand for a while. The shapes are not that difficult. You just want your fingers close to the neck, of course. But the main thing concerns the picking technique. Check out how my hand is rotating a little bit in order to play those clean string transitions. So after that downstroke, the picking angle looks like this because I want to move away from the guitar after the downstroke and not inside the guitar like this, so away. But then I have to turn my wrist angle like this, so that after the upstroke I can also escape from in between the strings and land on the downstroke. So without playing, I'm training this kind of movement. Escape after the downstroke, escape after the upstroke. You can even see that at a faster tempo, that I'm not just moving my hand up and down like this. There is this kind of escape movement in both directions. And that's the exact exercise that finally made those 2 picking escape movements click for my students on Patreon this year, because you can clearly feel it with your wrist. And once you felt that for the very first time and it clicked in your brain with this exercise, you can suddenly apply it to all kinds of different super fast alternate picking lines without getting stuck in between the strings, because you finally understand the movement. But this is just one of the exercises from the 30-day clean playing challenge. The other ones in that practice package unlock the movements even more. Alright my friend, now that I showed you some of my absolute favorite exercises I talked about in my online guitar academy this year, it's time for you to finally join us with the link down below, patreon.com/bernd, because over there you can download today's practice package, all the practice files you need for the exercises I just showed you, from play-along videos to backing tracks to PDF tab sheets to guitar profiles. And you also get access to all my premium guitar technique courses for free once you join on Patreon. No additional charges at all, because I truly want to help you as much as I possibly can. It's an absolute no-brainer, absolutely worth the small investment. I couldn't possibly make it easier for you. So just click the link down below right now, become my student for real. I'm waiting for you inside.